Hello, welcome to another episode of Farmer James for Vermont Mountainside Beekeeping. As you can see, a lot of snow and a lot of stuff to talk about, don't you know? No, I'm not a good rhymer, I'm just a bee guy. I'm a Vermont certified beekeeper working on a master of beekeeping program from Cornell. I finished one under Dr. Robin Underwood. And what I try to focus on is mountainside beekeeping here in the great state of Vermont, and enjoying a lot of snow this winter. And for all you folks out there, I'm just here as trying to let you know what I do to keep bees surviving in the great north of Vermont, where there's long winters, where there's a lot of snow, and temperatures will fluctuate. And a lot of you folks down south are always trying to figure out if it's a good thing to do this or that, but up north, we must hold our patience. We must hold that energy so that the beehives can also have that energy to survive their winters. So what does that mean? Mostly what that really means is trying to get genetics that will not really make a lot of bees. They know how to downsize themselves. They know how to cluster well in the winter. And they also do things not like here, have extra things in a yard like that bee bus is what I'm calling it, a bee bus, because that's going to be the future home of where I do storage and a lot of different things in that bus and make it usable. So that's what I try to do, is make a lot of things usable. And some people call it regenerative. I call it recycling. I call it reusing, but not abusing. Again, I'm trying to rhyme, but no, I'm just the bee guy. Again, for all you new folks, welcome to Farming James Vermont Mountainside Beekeeping. And I've just given an update about what we're doing up here in the north, or we should be doing. And that is holding yourselves back from visiting hives. You can look outside the hive, but you know what? I would not suggest going into the hive. That's not what I'm doing. Right now, I'm just assessing the temperatures and trying to be ahead of the curve. What does that mean, being ahead of the curve? Well, I'm planning. So what I'm doing to stay on top of what I am continuing to learn, even though I'm on the verge of being a master beekeeper, um, I am actually they consider a master beekeeper. That's irrelevant. But I'm just giving you a touch up of what I'm doing. I'm planning. I'm learning. I'm divulging information from across the country, seeing how the pollination is blooming in certain parts of this country. I'm also trying to figure out and assess what I think will be when there's bloom time here. What that will do for me is help me figure out what I need to do to get my bees ready for the bloom, which will be the maple trees, which are up behind me. So these maple trees that are up there, that will be their first pollen food, which will be, as all you know, pollen is brood food. So that's what I always say to myself, pollen equals brood food, whereas the nectar is food for the colony. So on that note, I try to plan accordingly. Again, planning is important. So now that I have an idea about pollen blooms, blah, 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 and if you folks don't know when the pollen blooms are in your neck of the woods, I would suggest going into where you are and just Googling pollen blooms in my location. That way you'll actually get at least a general idea, but nothing specific. Of course, Mother Nature does what she does. So based on specificity, what we need to do is just get some idea, inclination, or whatever the proper word is to describe what we're going to do when it's a beautiful blue sky up there, but there's plenty of snow right here. So I ordered fondant because right now I don't want to have the pollen here up north because the temperatures are still too cold here in Vermont, where it's basically zone 4 to 5. And pretty much what that means is temperatures are still dropping down below what is agreeable. I mean, I'm out here, it's 20 something degrees, but because I have my straw hat on, I just have a jacket on, it does feel like springtime. But it really isn't. It's very cold out here. And if I wasn't used to the below zero temperatures that we've had here in the Green Mountain State, I would be probably more bundled up than I am. But hey, check it out. That's me in my typical straw hat. And that's why you might see Farmer James' logo as having this hat and this mug smile. But long story short, I really am just trying to gather a good census on what I should be doing and what I would like to do with my bees. So back to the planning. I did order a lot of fondant. That fondant came in today. I ordered Hive Alive because I started using it years ago before everybody really talked about Hive Alive, I guess. What does that mean? When Hive Alive first started, that was my go-to based on the ingredients which I thought were very good for my bees. My genetics of Carniolan Russian blend mutts, along with survivor stock of Vermont, would enjoy that boost of natural nutritional benefit, especially in the wintertime. So it's a great thing for me. It's already put together, already derived scientifically, and the efficacy is already proven how it works. So I don't need to play around with making my own fondant, okay? So I did add some as a, hey, right over the inner cover, and I left that fondant on, and that was to just get them as an emergency. But, I've been seeing dead bees outside of the hive, which is telling me, hey, the hives are still alive and strong enough to kick out. They're dead, so they can keep that hive nice and growing. So, yep, I did order a lot of fondant. It came in today. I ordered probably 150. Well, let's put about enough for my colony. So 3 15-pound or 15 patty boxes. So there you go, do the math. So 45 just as now. I was thinking about doing it because temperatures are going to rise to 40, but you know what? I don't want to get too antsy, but let's say, wrong pun to use, I don't want to be active. Get it? Be active. Anyway, no pun intended. Hey, like, subscribe, because I keep forgetting to say like, subscribe. What you do is help me, help you, help me, help you, because we're trying to get a better understanding and better knowledge from that understanding about taking care of bees. And if you folks know me, I'm here in the Green Mountain State, so I'm taking care of mountain bees. I'm not really worried about any bees other than the mountain bees that I'm breeding. But I do also, let me be real about it, I am worried about all the bees, not just the honeybees, but all pollinators. So that's my mission statement. I do support all pollinators, and that's what Farmer James Apiculture does. That's what my business is called, Farmer James Apiculture. I know him as Farmer James here in the state of Vermont. I do Farmer James honey and so forth. And I am known for treatment-free and have been for years, but based on the declining of the populations, I've been what is now branded in, I must say, I do also appreciate the branding of this acronym IPM. And I also breed mite tolerant bees based on what I've studied scientifically. Bees aren't really resistant. Okay, that would be basically like us, resistant to all the viruses that are out there, or bacteria and fungal things that affect us pathogenically. So again, based on my study, as I'm an ethnobotanist by degree, so I kind of incorporate ethnobotanical things in my yard and my landscape so that they could have natural and or supplemental. So yeah, so that's what I'm doing, and I'm sharing with you all. Try to do that yourselves. Learn about as much as you can your environment, your genetics. Also bring in your toolbox more and more knowledge. I think that is right there the number one thing, is knowledge. The more knowledge we have, the more we know about our bees. So I really don't like the thing about talking to my bees as much as listening to my bees and looking at what they're doing, gaining a sense based on the pathogen loads. What I mean is reading the comb, reading the bee comb, learning how to read the bee comb, learning how to build up certain other things that are sort of like barriers to the sustainability of our honeybees. I mean, look, we have one other thing to battle, and a lot of people down south are battling, and that is the hive beetles, which are crazy down south. But those beetles have been around even longer than they have in America. If you do some research about it, they've been in England before they hit the West USA. So yeah, you gotta work with these bees. You gotta find the genetics that are tolerant. That means they can live like I am. We are. You should be tolerant with the viral loads, bacterial loads, and microbials that are affecting us negatively, and maybe inducing some of those microbials that will help us positively. So yeah, that's what I'm doing, giving you a taste of what I'm doing up here in the Green Mountain state of Vermont. Yes, folks, for all you out there, like, subscribe, say, hey, what's going on, Farmer James? Let me know what's going on in the neck of your woods. I mean, right now, I'm just studying. I'm still about out. It's February. Hey, almost Valentine's Day weekend. Yeah, I know, Valentine's Day. Yeah, so if you don't have a special loved one, let the honeybees be your special loved ones. Okay, because I love honeybees, but I have another person that's a two-legged person, not those beautiful ladies that are in the hive that I share and I love. So long story short, make a gift to yourself that you love. And I love knowledge. I love education. I love sharing what I learn. And also I love sharing my life with somebody else. Again, Farmer James for Vermont Mountainside Beekeeping. I'm just giving you a little bit about what I'm doing right now. We're in the Great White North, and while all this snow is around, I'm just getting things ready. Other than reading, writing, or reading, trying to share with you what I'm doing. I'm also trying to figure out what I'm going to be doing with this beautiful shed that will be my new farm stand right here. So this farm stand, I'm hoping, will generate, if not anything else, a venue for folks to come to gather and to purchase some of the things that I'll be authoring. Yes, I will be authoring, because I am creating different books on what to do throughout the season, which is basically something that I designed in my master beekeeping programs. One I finished at Penn State under Dr. Robin Underwood on queen rearing as well as instrumental insemination. I will not be doing any of the instrumental insemination. I don't want to. I don't have the money to. But based on the science and studies, the bees do better than we can. So I'm not going to try to do that. But anyway, yep, that's that little farmhouse right over there. And we're going to make things happen. So that's a good thing. Hopefully it will be a great thing. Also be an educational hub so that the things you can't see past this giant mound of snow. We have a yard, and the yard is basically a nice area where people can gather, sit, and also can get up close and nice to the bees. I will have a screen house right next to the bee yard. I'll be inviting other people, as many schools, because I've already done that and invited schools. Thank you, schools, you've showed up. Where they can feel safe in this greenhouse. And thank you, Black Farmers Fund, for the grant I received from you to help make this greenhouse happen, which is making that nice little farm stand happen. Also, in the back there, we have the drone hut. That's happening. So yeah, Farmer James, Vermont Mountainside Beekeeping. Like, subscribe, let me know what you think, what you're doing in the South, in the Midwest, in the North, in the Yukon Territory, wherever you are. Let me know how you're being a star. Let me know how you're shining. Let me know what's making you feel bright and energetic to get out working with your bees. Right now, and I'm cold. I'm freezing. No, not really, but yes, it's 20-something degrees. The bees are covered in snow. If you looked at my last video, I gave you a little clip about what's going on with the amount of bees I do have. When the bees that have been spat out of the hive or kicked out of the hive are dropped in the snow, which is basically indicative of them just, doing what they do. They realize they're coming to an end and they leave the hive. And there are also some cleaning, and there are also a little bit of the cleansing flights, but not a lot. I probably will have cleansing flights start, I'm pretty sure, in the next few days, because the temperatures are going to jump up into the 40s. I know, I'm going to have to take off my hat for that and be like, yeah, it's 40-something degrees, so it's going to feel like springtime. But you'll see me going through the snow, because don't you know, that wall of snow will be here for quite some time. But hey, that's what happens when you're living in Vermont. The snow is here. It's here to stay. Right now, I'm doing my study. I'm prepared for putting Hive Alive in emergency. I'm ready to do it. But right now, I want to keep the bees thermally protected from this great mound of snow, as you see here. they also have their great mounds of snow around the hive. And that really helps those bees stay warm. As you can see, the wall of snow in my driveway. So that's almost like around all of their hives. And if you looked at my last video, I gave a little description of how I was keeping my bees barricaded from that northwestern wind, which is most of where we get in this Alberta Clipper or whatever it's called coming in. It brings us 2 to 3 or 4 to 5 or 8 inches. It just keeps bringing that snow. And my bees are doing what they do. Luckily, that snow is a great thermal barrier to keep them nice and healthy. And so far, you know, fingers crossed, what I got going in, I'm not going to lose too many. But right now, things look better than worse than I thought. And what does that mean? I'm not seeing a lot of die-off. That means a lot of hives that are showing no activity. So if I'm seeing hives that show no activity, I'm kind of saying maybe they're not alive. But that doesn't mean there aren't. That just means they're not showing activity. Based on their genetics, the Carniolans cluster well, they do well, they brood well. Same with the Russians. They know how to brood well for the winter. They know how to keep their reserves. They know how to use their reserves and not gut, you know, and they also brood up when they have resources. So all those things I learned, all those things I read about. You know, I joined the club, the Vermont Beekeeper Association. I used to be on the board of directors of the Vermont Beekeepers Association. I am a Vermont certified beekeeper. Like I said, folks, I'm working on 2 different. I finished up Robin's Invitation Nolan querying program, one of 2 invited from the Northeast. I also finished her invitation program of drone, which is now open to the public, called Drones. Very good program, specifically talking about drone biology. I'm now at Cornell doing their master beekeeping program. I've just finished up all the classes. I've finished very good to where I will be invited to do the finals. So I'm happy about that. I'm happy about completing it. I'm happy about also learning how to create a study, and that's what I will be doing this year. And you folks are lucky enough to be a part of my study. And that is basically breeding bees in Vermont, but specifically trying to do a program where I'm breeding using their natural instinct, their natural ability, and I'm supplementing. So basically, folks, I'm paying attention to a lot of details more than others may pay attention to. So I'll be looking at not only how they're building up, but I'll also be paying attention to comb, which will describe to me anything pathologically. But long story short, yeah, I'm psyched. I'm ready. I've been doing overwintering bees since 2017. I've been a Vermont certified beekeeper in 2019, thanks to the help of Ross Conrad, who invited me to be a Vermont certified beekeeper. So thank you, Ross Conrad. I appreciate you, your mentorship, your friendship that's guided me to get me stimulated to be who I am, Farmer James. And this is again Farmer James, Vermont Mountainside Beekeeping. Like, subscribe, let me know what you think. Let me know what you got some ideas. I would try to answer them. I would try to show you them. I would try to always show you what I do up here in Vermont. Vermont is where I'm at. Farmer James, Vermont Mountainside Beekeeping. Be